I'm Richard, I'm an addict. I'm super nervous. Like, it wasn't that bad when everybody was like, when I had my back to y'all. I'm grateful to be here, and I'm honored to get to share with you guys. Man, Narcotics Anonymous is the fucking easier, softer way. That is what I've been thinking about all day, man, because using fucking drugs is a 24/7 gig. Like, the dope tells me when I'm going to get up. It tells me where I'm going to be. It tells me if I'm going to eat. It tells me if I'm going to fucking sleep, who I'm going to be around. It controls every aspect of my life, man. And Narcotics Anonymous, I get up, I call my fucking sponsor. I go to a meeting, I say some prayers, I do some step work. I'm like 3 hours into it, man, and I'm offered the tools to live a life that I never thought was fucking possible. And if that's not the easier, softer fucking way, man, I don't know what is, you know? I'm super, like I said, I'm never thought that I would ever be in a position to share any kind of experience like this on staying clean. Like, I could tell you how to commit some felonies. I had some experience on dope fiending some people out of some shit. I could do that, you know, but to stay clean, man, I never really thought that shit would be possible. My higher power has a sense of humor, because every person I've known that has spoke at convention or anywhere for that matter, I have fucked with them on a regular basis. Like, are you nervous? Are you nervous? That's a lot of fucking people out there. Are you nervous? And yeah, ha ha. So if nothing else, man, I'm grateful that nobody's going to ask me if I'm fucking nervous when this is done. I love Cedar Lakes, Convention, Ripley, man. My son was conceived in the dorms over there. This place holds a special place in my heart for my family. Not one of the ones flushing condoms down the toilet. My clean date is September 23rd, 2007. I can't believe you guys have put up with me that long. You know, man, I don't know, like, growing up, I guess, was growing up, man. You know, I have a younger brother. Family life was, I don't know, weird, maybe. I mean, my mom always had my back. My dad has like almost 40 years in the OFF, which is the Other Friendly Fellowship. But a lot of that time, man, he was a dry drunk. I fucking grew up seeing that shit. You know, he was a drunk asshole without the fucking booze. So there were some tough times growing up around that shit. You know what I mean? A lot of mental illness, things like that, man. A lot of my memories from childhood aren't the greatest. There's a few, but I tend to block out the good ones. I don't know. That's just what I do. That get that pity thing going on. You know, I don't know. I remember my dad he tried to kill himself, and it was a horrible fucking time, man. I remember him coming into my room and like there's fucking dead shark eyes and fucking blood everywhere, man. And I was young and I was fucking terrified. Oh man, and that was like right before him and my mom had divorced. I remember, you know, him beating up my mom and all this shit, and laying in my room holding a big knife, just praying for the courage to stab him. And I could never find that courage, man. So, needless to say, our relationship wasn't the greatest. My mom would pack us up, and we'd go to the battered women's shelter, and then she'd move back in, and then she'd pack us up, and we'd go to the shelter, and then we'd move back in, and eventually, we moved to the shelter, and there was no going back. Around that time is the first time I used. I had a lot of anger. I don't know, man, like in school and shit, I was always the fat kid. I always was getting fucked with and whatever. And in, I guess, high school, yeah, it was high school, man, like freshman year, I beat the fucking brakes off this kid, man. And it was like the first time I'd really unleashed that. And like they took us both into the principal's office, and I just kept hitting this dude in front of the principal and shit. And it felt good, man. It really did. Because I had all that anger and shit built up, man, and to have that outlet for it felt good. Then the next year, they sent me to the alternative school, go figure, which was cool, man, because, we could smoke. It was an open campus, so, we all smoked dope. Yeah, so that was cool. That was like the main reason I went. Man, but then you meet a lot of people in there, man, and I don't know. I eventually dropped out of school because it got in the way of my using. When I lived with my mom, she worked. My mom, I always say, man, my mom was a Fed and my dad worked in a rehab center. So, man, he kind of had an idea what was going on. My mom worked until 2 o'clock in the morning, so like I had the house to myself. And like we would, in high school, on a Wednesday night, there's fucking keg parties and shit at the house. The rule is everybody got to be out by 1 o'clock. Clean the house up and act like it never happened. So that's what we did, man. And like I said, I dropped out of school. I was going to get my GED. They said, I took like the practice test. They said, you could pass this tomorrow, but you're going to have to come the whole rest of the year. And I'm like, yeah, fucking right. And I was gone. I came back, took the test, and was done with it. And like I said, man, the whole time I'm using, I guess when I turned 18, right around there, I discovered opiate pain pills, maybe, right around there. And, man, we would fucking wild out. It was, I moved in with the dude that I knew from high school, and I don't know, it was like the typical fucking drug house, you know what I mean? There was guns, there was dope, there was, we raised a lot of hell, and I'm surprised that we did not fucking go to jail. Like, because we were some fucking idiots. No, but like I said, like at 18, man, and you're living that lifestyle, it felt like I had everything. Anything I wanted, man. There was money, there was women, there was drugs, there was all that shit. And, man, I thought life was fucking great. By the time I was 19, all that shit was gone, and I had to move into my mom's house again, into the basement. Like I said, that shit lasted a short period of time, man, before she was like, you're either going to go to treatment or you're going to get the fuck out. So I went to detox for like 3 days because that's all I fucking need. And got out and used again, man, and I was homeless. And I'm like, Mom, let me come crash at the house. No. don't know, I think it took like 6 months to convince her to let me put a mattress in her garage. And it was still to the point where, like, I would get up in the morning and I'm dope sick and I'm like, I'm knocking on the door. I'm like, I gotta use the bathroom. And she's like, the Rich Station is down the road. I hope you fucking make it. And I don't know, man. That shit, sleeping underneath the 5th Street gym in Fairmont, because like we used to smoke dope there in school. So like I knew how to get through the window and shit, and that was my spot. And I remember one time, man, they were tearing out all these houses on this street to make way for this connector or whatever, man, and they had all these empty houses. And I went in one of them, man, and there was still water running. And it was like, I was so fucking excited, because I'm like, man, I can take a shower, like I can shit in this toilet, like this is awesome. I'm living like a king, man. That was like the highlight of it, And I thought that no matter what, man, as long as, no matter where I'm living, if I'm homeless, if I've ate, if any of that shit, as long as I can get high, everything's fine. This is perfectly normal. This is how I'm going to live. It was about that time I went to one of my first Narcotics Anonymous meetings, man. And I didn't go because I wanted to get clean. I didn't go because I thought you guys were such an awesome group of people to hang out with. My dad worked in a treatment center. He told me if I'd meet him at the meeting, he'd give me $20. So I remember being outside of the meeting, man, and it's the middle of summer. I haven't showered in like 2 weeks. I have a backpack with a half a bottle of liquor in it and some clothes, and I smell like a sweaty foot that just got pulled out of a sweaty asshole. And I'm stashing my backpack up in the bushes, man, and I go in, and you guys loved me, Somebody got me a cup of coffee, and they let me sit in the comfy seat, and they turned off the lights for the candlelight meeting, and nobody said shit that I fell asleep. And after the meeting, everybody gave me a hug and told me to keep coming back. And man, when you're living on the street, you don't get that kind of love. There is no respect for you. People don't fucking want you around. They sure as hell don't want you to come back. So, I didn't stay clean, but when it was time to get clean, I knew that there was something in Narcotics Anonymous for me. Continued through that, man. Using, my mom had sold her house, so now I was living in her house while it was on the market because I could break into it. So I had, me and my wife had moved in there, had a couch, everything. We got arrested. That came. I knew it was a bad situation. I knew we fucked up. I knew we should have left, but then here we are laying on the ground with our fingers interlocked behind our heads. Man, and that was like my first experience of actually being in jail. And it did not take long for me to decide that I really like my freedom, that I don't like shitting in front of people, and I'm not a huge fan of being locked up. Man, I got out and I went to treatment. I didn't stay clean. I didn't even stay clean the whole time I was there. Continued to use, man. My friend Chucky used to say that me and my wife have the most Narcotics Anonymous, like a Narcotics Anonymous love story, man, because we used together. We'd been to treatment centers together. We got married in a haste so that they couldn't make one of us testify against the other one. And now we're clean. You know, man, I heard that shit so many times that y'all won't make it. You guys can't do it. You use together. It's not going to happen, you know. Bullshit. You know, was that shit easy? Is it easy? No. Is it possible? Absolutely. You know, we just celebrated our 10-year wedding anniversary in March. You know. Again, I can't believe she's put up with my shit that long. Oh, man. And it's always funny because exactly 6 months after we got married, I got clean. And, I mean, to the day. So, yeah, I guess that's my take on relationships is, I don't know. Treatment, used, man, and so anyway, I got put on probation, and we continued using. I'd robbed my best friend because of some different things that were going on, and he fucking kicked in my door with a hammer. He kicked in the door with a hammer and beat me in the fucking head with a frying pan, and it was a horrible experience, man. It's not on my list of favorite things that have happened. But I will say, man, that put in motion for me to end up in Narcotics Anonymous in 2007. Because I had every reason to stop at a doctor's office and work that motherfucker. And I did that. And I would limp in and I would cry and I would moan and I would leave with drugs. And that worked for a while until I rolled into the doctor's office and I'm limping up there. And he said, well, we need to talk about this. And I seen him pull out the paper with the DEA header on it. And I'm like, okay, gotta go. And I'm out the fucking door, man. My PO at the time gave me the option. He said, by the end of the month, you're either going to be in treatment or you're going to jail. Because I couldn't stop shooting dope, man. I could not stop using long enough to pass a drug test. I would call him and be like, I'm going to be late to check in because I'm parked up the road using. You know, because in my mind, I'm like, well, if I go in there sick, he's obviously going to know something's fucked up. But if I go in there high, everything's cool. And he gave me that option, man, and my probation officer was my first understanding of my higher power, because there's no doubt in my mind that dude was loving and caring because he could have locked me up and been done with me. He gave me that opportunity to get my shit together, and he just wanted to see me do good, man. So I went to treatment, said I had no desire to stay clean. I just didn't want to go to jail. I took dope with me. And, you know, man, I'd had previous experience with Narcotics Anonymous, and I'd say, I'll go to meetings, I'll get a sponsor, I'll work some steps, but you are not going to catch me praying. I'm not going to do that shit. And, man, I kept using, and this time around, man, I was like, you know, I'm just going to try it. I'm going to give it a shot, see what it is. And, man, I remember praying, you know, just to whatever's there, just to let me know that there's something there, that there's something. And I'll never forget it, man. We read this meditation about pennies in a wishing well, and everybody got up and walked out, and I stood up, and there was a fucking penny laying on the ground. And that was all it took, man, was something the size of a penny to open my mind enough to say, man, there is a possibility that there is a power greater than me, that this program might have something for me. And I flushed the dope that I had and continued on, man. I'd immediately got a sponsor who I had before, but man, I called him more when I was using than I did when I was clean, because I'd call him and be like, man, I'm in a bind, you think I could get 20? And he'd be like, yeah, if you come to the fucking meeting tonight. And I'd be like, yeah, I'm not going to be there. Because I didn't think he'd give it to me anyway. All right, man. And I got involved, like, early on. Even in treatment, man, they would let us go on pass and, like, sign up speakers to come to the treatment center to speak, man. So I'd go to meetings in my hometown, and I'd be like, hey, will you drive up to the treatment center and speak? And got to know people. So that way, when I got out, I knew people in Narcotics Anonymous. I've made friends in Narcotics Anonymous, like real friends, people that I genuinely care about, which I never had when I was using. It was always, what can we do, what blah, 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 man. And to have genuine friends is a blessing of this program. I moved out of my hometown, which was an awesome idea because I'd fucked over a lot of people in my hometown. So like walking around and shit was, I was really nervous doing it, clean or whatever. I'd got jumped by 3 guys with a couple months clean at work. I worked at a gas station, man, and I got jumped at night by 3 dudes over some dumb shit that had happened. And I was like, man, it's probably a great idea for me to roll out of here. No, man. I worked at a lot of gas stations. The one that, I remember I got a job at this gas station, and from day one, man, there was a stack of bills on the desk, and I'm like, I'm stealing those. That's gonna happen. I'm stealing that stack of money. And I don't even have the job yet. Like, I'm at the interview and I'm like, I'm gonna steal that. So the day came, man, and I stole it. And I come in the next day and they're like, come back here. They're like, did you not think there were cameras? I'm like, fuck, man, I looked everywhere. I really didn't think there was any back here. And they're like, we would press charges on you, but that whole stack of money was counterfeit bills. So you're fired for stealing fake money. Shit. Today, man, I work in a gas station, and they actually pay me extra to take money out of the store. I run that shit. I've been doing it for almost 10 years. It's not like my dream job, but it is consistent. I said, man, I couldn't keep a job more than a couple of paychecks or, being dope sick for a day. And to be in a position where I'm trusted with inventory and money and I'm a responsible member of society is pretty fucking cool. Like, a lot of them don't know about Narcotics Anonymous because I don't have to tell them what a great recovering addict I am. You know what I mean? I can show them and that I'm a good fucking person. So I don't have to wear the bumper sticker on my shirt and say, look at me. This is what happens when you get to Narcotics Anonymous. I can just be a good person, man, and let that speak for itself. So moved out of my hometown. because my wife was in a fellowship home, and I didn't have shit in town but a bad reputation and a probation officer who was more than happy to transfer me. And so that's what I did. We started a family, man. Right there. Man, I never really thought that I wanted kids. I didn't know. I didn't think I wanted that dad role. I didn't think I was really fucking cut out for it, man. But holy shit, my kids are awesome. My little boy is, he's been up here multiple times. He doesn't shake hands. He hugs everybody. Everybody. I mean, the cashier at Walmart puts his toys in the bag, you're getting a hug. And that is no shit. Like, he hugs everybody, man. And then a couple years later, we had my little girl, Azalea. And, oh man, so my family's getting bigger, man, and it's amazing, and I've taken on this dad role, and I love it, and I like being a part of my kid's life, and I learned some shit growing up that I don't want to have to put my kids through, and I try on a daily basis not to do that. I try to be present and just be there, you know. And then, like, reservations, man. Like, if something happens to my kids, I can't get through that. I'm gonna have to use. If something like, you know, something happens to one of my kids, I'm gonna have to fucking use. There's no way around it. And at 14 months old, my daughter was diagnosed with kidney cancer. And I thought, this is it, man. I mean, there's no way I can do this. There's no way I can go through fucking chemo. There's no way. I'm not fucking cut out for this, man. And me alone, I'm probably not, man. But with Narcotics Anonymous, absolutely. Shit. She's fine now. She's in remission. She went through her chemo. She took out her kidney. And my fucking clean date didn't change, man. No, I got to feel the love of Narcotics Anonymous. There are people that I don't fucking know. There were people just that I've met at Ripley. That were like, man, what's your address? Let me send you a gas card. What's, you know, man, had a guy I was at the infusion center at like 5 o'clock in the morning, and just random dude, man. He's like, hey, are you guys hungry? Like, I'm coming down. I'm stopping to get you food. I don't know this fucking dude. He's like, just tell me how to get to the infusion center once I'm in the hospital. And he showed up, man, and we chopped it up. And at any point in time, man, I can call him and be like, hey, I'm in town. Let me stay at your house. And he's going to be like, absolutely. Because those are the kind of bonds that we make in Narcotics Anonymous, man. Like I said, I never thought that I could get through that shit. And with you guys, I found out that it's possible. And today, man, I can look at different situations in my life, man. Like, you know, my job sucks and I don't really want to be there. And, this person's an asshole or whatever. And, man, if I can get through that shit with my daughter, I can get through, I feel like I can get through fucking anything. That there is no, I can come up with a million excuses to use, but I cannot find one valid fucking reason. Man, like I said earlier, my mom has always had my back. She even when she kicked me out of her house, man, I'm grateful for that. To this day, she still won't say she is proud of me because she thinks I'm going to immediately start smoking crack. I remember, man, she'd picked me up. Like I said, she'd sold her house and moved into a new house. I had never been there. She picked me up from treatment, and I'm like, okay. She's like, we're going to stop by my house. I'm like, holy shit, look at this. Leaps and bounds. I'm mending relationships. This shit is fantastic. And we got there, and I jump out of the car, and I'm like, man, it's a nice house. And she's like, you can wait on the fucking porch. Okay, well, that's where I'll be then. Oh, man, today if I'm in town, man, the last time I was in town, I said, hey, Mom, I'm going to be up there doing some things. And she said, well, you know where the spare key is. You can go in the house, make yourself at home. I'll be home in a couple of days. Because she had heard that shit of, I'm going to change, I'm going to do better, I'm going to do this, and I kept doing the same old shit. It wasn't, past the lip service, man, my actions had to match up. I can, if I know the winning Powerball numbers and I don't go play them, I'm still fucking broke. You know what I mean? I have to put that fucking legwork in, man. All the knowledge in the world will not do shit unless I put into action. And here recently, I said, man, me and my dad have not had the best relationship, man. A few months ago, he got really sick, had a heart attack, a couple of strokes, and he's been in and out of the hospital, nursing home. He's currently in a nursing home. And I'm the one that's dealing with all that. You know what I mean? My brother isn't. There's nobody else to do it. It is me. And I don't do it, and I'm not doing it for any other reason than it's the right fucking thing to do, man. That shit is hard because he's an asshole. And through all that shit, man, my level of tolerance is really thin, I guess. And so he'll say something, and like I said, man, I get it. He's sick, and man, I hold on to that shit. I'm like, you old bastard, and but I'm still there, man. I still go. I still pick him up. I still let him smoke cigarettes in my car. Oh, man. And like I said, because it's the right thing to do. And because family means something today. And I'm still kind of shocked that I'm responsible. Like, that's always cool. I'm not as nervous now. That's cool. Yeah. But the thing about my mom not telling me that she's proud of me, like, she won't tell me, but she will tell my wife. She will say, well, don't you tell Richard, but I'm super fucking proud of him. Because if it comes through that third party right there, then I will not immediately smoke crack. Step work, man. I was not real excited about it. I don't know. I didn't want to admit that I was powerless. I didn't want to make an inventory. I didn't want to do any of that shit, man. But you guys told me that that's how we recover. We can go to 100 fucking meetings and we can talk to 100 recovering addicts, but if we're not working the steps, we're not fucking recovering. And I remember working like a 4-step, man, and it's the dreaded 4-step, and I remember feeling so much freedom from sharing it. And I had like this long list of resentments, man, and like that shit went from my mom and my dad to the police department to fucking praying mantises, cause fuck those things. And then I went down, man, and after I was done sharing it, I almost immediately, dude, I could not come up with all the shit that was on that list again because it just stopped mattering. You know what I mean? Like, all this shit that I thought defined me and made me who I was just, it wasn't fucking important anymore, man. Working my 6th step was... Man, I had a sponsor. I worked a 6th step. I wrote it all out. We never shared it. Some things came up in my life from when I first got clean. And I got a new sponsor. And I'm telling him what's going on. And he's like, man, it sounds like you need to do a 6th step. And I'm like, I got it right here. He's like, no, it sounds like you need to rewrite that motherfucker. I'm like, okay, cool. So I go through and I rewrite it, man, and some things come up, and I end up with another sponsor. And he's like, you know, man, it sounds like you need to do a 6th step. I'm like, I got it right here. And he's like, no, you need to rewrite it. So, like, in a matter of, 9 months or something, I wrote out 3 6 steps. So if you want to talk about being painfully aware of some defects, yeah. That was me. My wife was like, you're very charismatic. I'm like, fuck, I better look that up. It probably goes on the list. That shit was so painful, man, because I had to hit that bottom with those defects, you know what I mean? I had to, because I wasn't just willing to let all that shit go. I wanted to hold on to it. I wanted to, it made me who I was. It protected me from you guys. But man, like I said, it was like the dope. I had to hit a bottom with them. And in that 9 months, man, that was some miserable shit. And I remember being like, man, I don't know if this is like a thing. I don't know if this is gonna work. It might not work for me. I'm pretty fucking sick. And I used to be really super vulgar when I shared. Like, yeah, I still cuss. Don't get that wrong. And but I mean, like, I was vulgar when I shared. And I remember a sponsee of mine had brought his 89-year-old grandma to the meeting. For him to pick up some time, and I'm like, oh my God, this is gonna be so bad. This old lady's probably gonna have an aneurysm. And man, I shared what I had to share, and I sat down and I was like, holy shit, I don't even think I cussed at all. You know what I mean? And I'm like, maybe God is doing something for me, man. And that was when I really felt like that 6th step, man. When I got out of the way, I let God handle it, and I saw the results. I have some awesome sponsees. Because no matter what I go through, man, as long as they call me. That's the main thing, man. They call me, and they want to work steps, and they keep my ass in line. And some of them drag their feet, which is fine, because I do too. Yeah. But man, sponsorship is huge, man. I have to have my sponsor. I have to sponsor people, man. I'm grateful for the people that hold service positions. I'm grateful for the people that are on committees. I am not that dude. I'm not, man. I feel like my service to Narcotics Anonymous is better at, I heard somebody share yesterday, man, attacking that fucking sick newcomer and hugging the shit out of them and making them feel welcome and sponsoring people, man, because I can tell you the moment I realized that I was not cut out for service positions. I was in my home group, and the area had asked if we could bring some 2 liters to the camp out or the cookout. And for 45 minutes, man, we sat there and argued. Well, didn't we send money to area? How come they can't use that money? I'm like, do we have the money? Well, yeah. Well, then buy the fucking 2 liters. I mean, we've been here for 45 minutes, dude. It's Friday night. I want to go home. You know what I mean? And at that point, and for like 2 months, dude, I was like, man, fuck my home group and all those assholes and those 2 leaders. And that's when I realized that maybe holding like service positions wasn't quite for me, man. But like I said, I'm grateful for the people that do it because, man, if my kids ever need to come to Narcotics Anonymous, I definitely want it to be here. You know, I remember saying, man, my little boy was little and he'd have like a cookie in this hand and a cookie in this hand and he's eating a cookie and I'm like, man, look at him. He's just a little addict. You know what I mean? And my wife said, well, maybe the baby's not an addict. Maybe addicts are big fucking babies. I'm like, man. I'm a big baby. Huh? Okay. Are you sure? Check it again. I have a life today that I never thought I could have. We just bought a house. That shit is mine. You know what I mean? I'm not sleeping in somebody else's house. It's not abandoned. I'm able to provide today, and I could barely provide enough dope to fucking stay well for a week, let alone provide for other people, which is without a doubt a gift of Narcotics Anonymous. Had a real hard time with the higher power thing. Like I said, man, for real, my first understanding was my probation officer. But, you know, here I am a few years later, I don't have a fucking probation officer anymore. And I'm so grateful that can change, man, because if I came in here and you guys said, this is how your higher power has to be, and this is how you have to do this, and you're going to have to kneel and burn this candle, and I'd have been out the door before the first pot of coffee was made, man. And I'm grateful that I can talk to somebody and they can tell me about their higher power, and I can take one aspect of that and I can put it into my higher power, and that it's ever evolving, man, because, you know, the misconceptions that we all grow up with or whatever, man, it's just not here. You know, decision making was always super fucking hard. Today it turns out that making decisions isn't that hard when you have fucking values. Because I never had that shit before. Well, I had them, but I would definitely lay them to the side for whatever suited me best at the time. I don't have to compromise that shit today. I have values that I can stand for, and I don't have to compromise them for any fucking reason. And there are some times that I've lost my shit in Narcotics Anonymous. There's some times that I have lost my fucking cool, man. Not just in Narcotics Anonymous, but since being clean. And that's okay, you know, because I have those values that I can stand up for, man, and that I didn't get clean to be a doormat, and I didn't get clean to, there's just some shit that I won't stand for, you know what I mean, and that's okay. So I didn't get clean to be miserable. I didn't try not to be a sad sack and whatever, man. Being clean is fun. I mean, I have a sense of humor. You know, I like to laugh. I like to joke with people, man. I didn't do that shit when I was using because everything was fucking serious. everything. There was no laughing. There was none of that, man. And that is a gift that I hold dear, because I love a good belly laugh, man. For real. Either me laughing or watching other people laugh. I love that shit. I love this program. I don't know how much time I have left, but I feel like if I keep talking, it's going to be a bunch of bullshit. This is always hard, because I was always taught to keep my sharing to 5 minutes or less, because anything over 5 minutes is ego and bullshit and nobody's listening anyway. So I said, I'm grateful to be here. I'm grateful you guys are here. That's all I got. Thanks.